Thank you so much for your comment. If you want some context, just click on it. You can kind of get the idea. I do not feel like getting up to get my glasses, so excuse me while I struggle and strain to read this comment. It says, divorce paralegal. I would never be a stay-at-home mom. I've seen women who've never worked suddenly have to support themselves. They're absolutely lost. They have half the assets and also half the debt. When we have the discussion of not telling women they cannot be stay-at-home moms, and it's not that I hate stay-at-home moms. I don't know where this gets lost in translation. And it's not that you can't enjoy being a homemaker. Again, something else that seems to be getting lost in my messages. My thing is, if you are going to do that, please, for the love of homemade blueberry muffins, make sure that you have money in the bank or some kind of stream of income. So if anything happens that causes you to no longer be able to depend on his income, you and your children will be okay. For some reason, when I say this, women hear, Jules hates stay-at-home moms. They hear, there's nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home mom, even though I never said that. They get defensive and tell me what their husbands would never, ever do. They get defensive and tell me, well, I don't want to be in the workforce. I don't want to hustle. I don't want to have to, fine. But we're not talking about any of that. And I never said any of that. I actually love stay-at-home moms. Whenever I make this content, I can always tell the women who don't know what the hell they're talking about. Because they're so quick to shout, just get a prenup. Just sue him for half his money and assets. Just put him on child support. Just get alimony. Truth number one. Realistically, everybody who's shouting in comment sections to do those things are not going to do it. Most women are not going to get a prenup. So let's start there. Y'all be lying. Secondly, even if you get a prenup, the average person is not making more than $40,000. So what exactly are you trying to get half of? I mean, it's possible you could win the lottery, you could inherit some money, you could, become rich and famous. But realistically, you're not going to walk away a wealthy billionaire after you get divorced, okay? Now let's talk about death. Life insurance, sure. But the part that a lot of people don't get, much to this point, is funeral expenses tend to take a lot of the money that you may have gotten from life insurance. Also, any debts that they've had, that's on you now. Now, back to what I was talking about before that. Y'all get divorced, you're screaming prenup, take half of his money. Again, they ain't got nothing to take half of, okay? It's me you're talking to. I've been covering this shit for years and I've lived it, all right? I know what I'm talking about. Also, when it comes to alimony, it is very hard to get that. They're not just handing it out like samples at Costco. Chances are you will not be getting that. So many women go into divorce court delusionally thinking that they're going to live the life of a soap opera diva. If you don't know what a soap opera is, it's a telenovela, anyway, whatever. They think they're going to walk away just oozing money. That's not the case. As far as put them on child support, sure, of course. You can do that. The judge can order it, but that doesn't mean they're going to pay it. Myself and hundreds of thousands of women all across the USA are the cautionary tale of we didn't get not one check or direct deposit, or maybe we got it for a period of time and then it stopped, okay? Men who were once these hardworking people have done some low down and desperate and dirty things in order to avoid paying child support. Most women, and one of my mutuals said this, I can't remember who said it, comment if you said that, but unfortunately most women who leave these situations with no income of their own are going to leave in even more debt and chaos than they did when they first got into that marriage, when they first met that person. They're going to be even worse off. And plus now they have children. I would tell women, if you were smart, if you know that you want to be a homemaker and be a stay-at-home mom, if you have zero money in the bank, if you have zero stream of income that you can maintain, you should not do it. Oh, Jules, you can't just sit around and tell people what to do all the time. You're right, I can't. But I have lived it. I've heard the cautionary tales of women who have lived it. I've heard judges talk about it. I've heard advocates talk about it. I have heard paralegals and lawyers talk about it. And they all say the same thing that I am saying. They would never recommend that a woman do it. Now, I'm not going to say that, because if you want to, you should. I think it's a beautiful thing. But my thing is, if you ain't got no money saved, if you have no way to protect yourself financially, if his money goes away, you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it. And it's okay to wait to have children. This is so frustrating. We got to do it now. We have this magical deadline because of patriarchy telling us that the older we get, the less valuable we are, and the more risks, when actually it's the men who offer the biggest risks as far as having an unhealthy child. You can wait until you have some money saved, or until you figure out what you're going to do, or until you have some kind of network of people built up so you can go back into the job force at any time. And I think that a lot of women get defensive when I talk about these things, because unfortunately we always think we're going to be the exception. We always think that Dwayne and Tommy and Michael would never do to us what we've heard other women go through. We always think that if we get divorced, everything is going to go smoothly. We always think everything will just magically work out. And my favorite comments are the ones from women who say, if anything ever happened and me and my husband were to get divorced, I would pick myself up by the bootstraps and I would hit the pavement and do what I had to do to make sure, okay, Sarah, calm down. You're not auditioning for a movie, okay? That shit is hard. Rebuilding your life from nothing is hard. It's not a TV show or a movie that's going to figure itself out in 2 hours. It is agonizing to go to bed knowing your lights might get cut off. There's an eviction notice looming. Your kids are going to school with clothes that are too small. You can't fill your fridge, so you're rationing sandwiches and little cheap things that you can get your hands on so you can feed your family. You're living in the neighborhoods that are not so great, but that's all you can afford. That's not a beautiful, fun, I'm just going to do this. No, it's something that most women, it takes them years to recover from financially. And that's not even talking about the mental and emotional part. If these types of messages make you feel offended, if it makes you feel uncomfortable, I would ask that you sit in that uncomfortableness and ask yourself, why? Why do I feel so uncomfortable? Am I being delusional? Do I really think that I'm the exception to the rule? Be delusional when it comes to chasing your dreams. Never be delusional when it comes to men. I think that is the worst thing that a woman can do.